Want to earn some quick cash? Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston is stocking up on cute and cozy fall styles. We pay you on the spot for your gently used name brand clothes and accessories. Plus, while you're here, you can stock up on must-have looks for autumn. We're the go-to sustainable shopping spot for teens and young adults. So stop by Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston today and refresh your wardrobe. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue. Want to earn some quick cash? Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston is stocking up on cute and cozy fall styles. We pay you on the spot for your gently used name brand clothes and accessories. Plus, while you're here, you can stock up on must-have looks for autumn. We're the go-to sustainable shopping spot for teens and young adults. So stop by Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston today and refresh your wardrobe. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Hello and welcome to Love Samantha Lee, the More Than Just Pretty podcast. I'm your host, Samantha, and here we explore love, life, spirituality, and relationships through the lens of real beauty, the kind that begins the moment you decide to be unapologetically yourself. Join us as we dive into heartfelt discussions that challenge, inspires, and connects. Ready to embrace your true self? Let's begin. What's up, family? It's your girl, Samantha Lee, and y'all, since we've been rocking and rolling together, you can all call me Sam. Everybody calls me Sam. I don't know one person in my life that calls me Samantha. So please, we family now. It's Sam. And y'all, I called this particular episode the time for promotion. It's a time for promotion. Some of us have been facing opposition. There has been test after test, trial after trial. It's been hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I'm here to encourage you. I'm here to encourage you today, as I am encouraging myself, that God is your vindicator, that you do not have to enact revenge for yourself. You do not have to vindicate yourself. You don't have to prove nothing to nobody. God is about to do it. God is about to do it. God is about to do it. I don't know what you've been struggling with. I don't know what you've been going through. I don't know what, like, the private toils that you've been dealing with at night. But God is saying today, it is time for promotion. I'm preparing you. I am preparing you. I have been preparing you for the next level. And last week we talked about the backside of the blessing, which I said before, you can't expect a front side without a backside. You praying for promotion. As we're talking about today, it's time for promotion. But you also have to understand that there's responsibilities. We can be praying for promotion, praying for it, not prepared for what comes with it. And so as we go into today, I think that a lot of people, especially people that are listening or have been listening to this journey, I believe that a lot of you guys this message will resonate. And so I want to take you guys back to a story with David. Y'all, I love me some David. Okay. If you listen to me talk about King David, I'm always like, I can't wait to find my King David. And people are like, Sam, why do you want King David? Why David? Why not Boaz? Like, that's what everybody wants. I want King David. Because King David was rough around the edges, okay? King David had a story. King David was a soft, he could play the harp, and Saul used to bring him into the kingdom to play the harp to calm the spirits, because Saul was battling spirits, all right? And the harp, and David playing the harp, would ease his spirit and bring him to a place of peace where he could go to sleep at night. Right? But he was also known as a warrior. And we say warrior, we're talking about a successful, ruthless. He was out here fighting, unaliving tens of thousands of people. He was known as just this. I don't know how to say it on a podcast. I'm not trying to mess it up, but an unaliver. He was just that guy, right? And he would take people out. He wouldn't think twice about it. He would even pray to God about taking people out. Can I unalive this person, God? I really, really want to. They really, really upset me. And he would listen to God's promptings. So you just have this juxtaposition. We have these two completely different parts of one individual, one that's like a fighter, and he's strong, and he's ready for war. He's ready to do it at any given moment. It's on site with him. But then you have another side of him which is soft and writing poetry and, got that lovey-dovey spirit to him. So he's got these two completely different sides, but he holds himself accountable to God. One of the only people we hear God say is a man after God's own heart, that even though David wasn't perfect, God could trust him. He could trust his heart. He knew that even when he fell short, even when he made mistakes, he was going to go before the throne and surrender and make it right with God. No matter what he did, no matter how bad or how far he went in some of his sinful pursuits, he still found his way back to God. And so one of the stories that I think is really powerful, and it resonates. I was just really it resonates with me, is that we don't talk about the beginning. We talk a lot about the David and Goliath story. We don't talk about the time between David being anointed and then David actually becoming king. We don't talk about that time frame. We just think, okay, we get the promise and then bam, we're king, or bam, we're queen. And it's like, bam, we're married, and bam, we got the promotion, and bam. No, David was tested. David was tested, family. And let me break it all down for you, okay? In my own Sam way. So Saul was anointed king because Israel wanted a king. And so they anointed Saul because Saul was chosen by God. Once Saul got the position, Saul was irresponsible with the position, meaning that Saul started to default to earthly wisdom versus heavenly wisdom. Okay. And in James 3:15, it states this. Okay. I'm going to read the verse out to you, y'all. I had it right here. James 3:15 describes earthly wisdom. Earthly wisdom. I'm going to make sure it's the right version so it's very clear. Okay. Okay. So James 3:15, if my internet wants to work, it says such wisdom. Okay. Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you will find disorder and every evil practice. So I'm going to read that one again. Such wisdom, which is earthly wisdom. That's what James is talking about in James 3:15 through 18. He says, such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice. So what we find is when we see Saul towards the end of his reign, he has gone his own way. He's driven by his insecurities. He's in any opportunity he can possibly find. He knows that David has been anointed king. He knows it. He knows that he's lost the anointing, which means that any day now, his reign as king ends. And that's because he opted out of the will of God. Even though David, in his reign as king, did more sinful things. He did some real certifiable, sins. Okay. We're not going to get into that, but that's just besides the point. But God could trust the heart of David more so than he could trust the heart of Saul, because Saul was driven by envy and selfish ambition. He did not want anybody else to be king. And he wanted so badly the approval of the people that were watching him. He cared more about the approval of the public versus the approval of God. So he did a lot of things to continue to garner the public attention and public affection and public approval. And he would spite or ignore the promptings of God. Because what ended up mattering more to him as he got his promotion is pleasing people versus pleasing the God that put him in the position to begin with. Okay? And so what happens now is, driven by his insecurities, driven by his knowledge that he no longer has the anointing from God as king. He is now driven by envy and selfish ambition. He is just running after David at any given opportunity, trying to take him out as if that's going to stop God's plan. And David has multiple I'm talking about multiple opportunities to take Saul out. Can you imagine if there was somebody in your life that is taking you out? And you have every opportunity. Some of y'all might feel this in a deep level. You have every opportunity you got the receipts, you could take them out. You got everything you could ever need, all the evidence just to basically clear your name and make this person look like a lying fool. You have the power, but you decide to say, no, I'm not going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. Even though you have multiple opportunities to take them out, you choose not to.
Want to earn some quick cash? Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston is stocking up on cute and cozy fall styles. We pay you on the spot for your gently used name brand clothes and accessories. Plus, while you're here, you can stock up on must-have looks for autumn. We're the go-to sustainable shopping spot for teens and young adults. So stop by Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston today and refresh your wardrobe. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
Instead of this being like verbal or whatever types of things that we might be dealing with, David was dealing with a real enemy. Saul wasn't just talking bad about David. He was doing that. He wasn't just talking bad about him and saying lies about him so that the people of Israel wouldn't accept him and wouldn't see him in a positive light. He was driven by this persistent desire to destroy David because he was so full of flesh, earthly wisdom, which is unspiritual, because unspiritual, earthly, and demonic, right? That was driving his car. And David in this time is running. I mean, he's on the run. Running. And people are like, David, just take this man out. Like, what are we doing? Are we going to spend these years just running from this guy? You've had multiple opportunities to take him out. Why aren't you taking him out? This don't make no sense. You have the power. You are a fighter. You are a warrior. You have had multiple opportunities, but you still don't take this man out. And this is a part of the story that I don't think people recognize or like really internalize a lot. This is a man that is on the run for many years. This guy is trying to take his life. And he has multiple opportunities to take Saul's life. And he chooses not to out of obedience to God, because he understood that God gave Saul the position as king initially, and it was not time yet. And so he allowed himself to be in this position of being on the run, even though he had multiple opportunities to stop the run. He chose the harder route. He chose the unpopular route. He chose the route that would keep him in a position of being on the run in order to honor God. And even though that defied earthly wisdom, he won. He ended up winning. Saul ends up dying a completely different way. David gets promoted as king. And he's a very successful king. He has God's hand on him. He's kicking behind and taking names as he's promoted to king. And he continues to sit before the throne and surrender before God and continue to try to please God. And he made some terrible mistakes. He ends up suffering the consequences of those mistakes. However, David was faithful. Even to the end of his life, he was faithful, which is why we hear so much about King David. I want to speak to someone's life that's listening to me right now. You feel like somebody or something or there's an issue that's persistent. It won't go away. It won't go away. And it just seems like the ante is up and up and up. And you're like, okay, God, now this ain't, well, God, come on. And you just have these conversations with God, like, God, I'm trying to be faithful. God, I'm trying to do it the right way. I'm trying to follow your plan. But every time I turn around, this keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I really don't know if I see you anymore. Like, I don't know how this ends. I'm starting to lose faith in what you are going to do in this situation. I'm starting to lose faith that anything positive will come from this. I'm starting to lose faith that no weapon form will prosper, because this kind of feel like it's prospering. And every voice raised to accuse me will be silenced, but they seem to be getting louder and louder, God. I don't really see you, and I don't understand what you're doing in my life right now. And I want to come here to encourage you that, just like I said last week, the tail of the backside, which is the backside of the blessing, the responsibility that comes with promotion. God is saying, listen, you've been tested. Everything that we go through in life, family, is a spiritual test. It's all got spiritual meaning, which is why we have to be so much more intentional than we actually are. That's why we do have to weigh the cost of every decision that we make. I tell men all the time, you've got to be careful about what spirit you decide to connect yourself to, because it does matter. It does matter. Y'all, family, this is a side note, but there's a lot of spiritual stuff going on that we don't even understand. Okay, there's a lot of witchcraft going on that we've made popular. There are women that are literally putting spells on men, and y'all can think that it's not real or whatever, but y'all need to be aware. Just like there are men that may be putting spells on women, there are real spiritual attacks that are going on. And if you want to put your head under a rock and act like it's not happening, you can. But I'm here to let you know that it is real, which is why we have to count the cost, which is why we have to be intentional. All right? But in this time, as you have been tested, going back to my point, in this time you have been tested. In this time you have continued to face the same battle, and God continues to give you the same command. Be still and know that I am God. Don't fight back. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't respond. Keep being faithful. Keep being consistent. You ain't got the energy. Keep getting up. You ain't got the time. Keep making time for it. God keeps telling you to do what is opposite of what your flesh wants to do. And you keep choosing the higher ground. You keep going. And you're like, God, I don't see it. And every single time, God is so good, because he'll what he'll do is there'll be a test. If you pass it, you pass it. There's a time of break. A little breather. It might be a little rainbow that comes out, and then you test it again. And then there's a little break, and then there's a little rainbow, and you test it again. And every time God ups the ante, and the more the ante is up, family, the more I want to, this is what I need you to hear today. Promotion is coming. The higher, the bigger, the more intense the battle feels, the bigger the calling on your life is. And some of you guys, we don't understand how much God trusts us, and we don't really understand what God is doing in our lives, but we can tell by the opposition that we face and the distractions that come what God has on us. That there's a plan that's bigger than us, because if the enemy believes in your destiny as much as he does, he is going to create bigger and bigger and bigger attacks. The attacks are not a sign that, oh, woe is me, God isn't with me. No, it means that God has put so much on your life. There is so much purpose tied to your name. There is so much promotion. The impact that you are supposed to make on this planet is so great that the enemy is doing everything in his arsenal, everything in his power to throw everything in your line of vision to stop you, to stall you, to not be able to see the end of the rainbow, the end of the tunnel, the light that is there, the impact that you'll make, the purpose you were created for. He puts these things there, and he's trying to discourage you and distract you, so much so that you opt out of the will of God. Oh, Sam, wait, I thought whatever God had for me is for me. No, family. That's what the world wants you to believe. We can make choices in our day-to-day life that opts us in and out of the will of God. There is a plan for your life. There is a preferred will for our lives. But we can make choices in our day-to-day life that takes us out of the will of God. Let's go back to Saul. Saul was anointed as king. As soon as he was anointed king, he had a moment with God where he started speaking in tongues, and he was anointed. He was full of the Spirit. Okay? And what happens is, as he continues to have more power and more success, he loses sight of his purpose. He loses sight of why God put him in that position to begin with. He loses sight of the fact that God is testing to see if he can be trusted with power, if he can be trusted with success, if he can be trusted with money. He is being tested and tried, and he fails. And he doesn't fail once, he fails over and over and over again. Not in the sense of sinning or things of that nature. He gets lost in selfish ambition. He gets lost in it. He just thinks about himself and how the public sees him. And that becomes where he gets his validation from. That's where he gets all his cookies and feeling good about himself. He's not going before the throne and saying, God, are you pleased with me? He's going before people and saying, are y'all pleased with me? And that's how he's dictating every single step of his life. And God's like, I can't trust you because once I gave you power, you were nobody. Didn't nobody know you, Saul? And I just chose you. I chose you and I anointed you, and you take the position and you spite me. You do it this way. Oh, now I got to anoint another king. Saul's intention, God's intention for Saul was for him to remain king and to have a successful reign over Israel. But because he got lost in selfish ambition, because he got lost in power, he did not fulfill his destiny because he lost sight. And in his free will, he opted out of the will of God. That's the part that we don't understand, family. That our decisions, when we try to hold on to things that don't belong to us, where we try to cling on to relationships and jobs and things that we know we're being called out of, there's a consequence. There's a cost. And I will tell you guys that keep running to the cross. I mean, even if it is a situation where it's hard for you to get out of, keep running to that cross. Keep running to your war room. Keep praying. Keep trusting God. Keep seeking the kingdom, and all these things will be added. That's what you have to do. But I want to encourage somebody that's been listening and has been running to the cross and has been trying to do it the right way and feels like they've just been tested. And they're like, God, where are you? Why are you letting this happen? Why, God? Why? I've been faithful. I've done it the way you wanted me to. People out here looking at me crazy. I'm sure that's how Noah felt. There's been a drought in his town for centuries. And here he is building a boat, and they're like, we haven't seen rain in centuries. Like, what are you doing? He's building that boat anyway, knowing that at some point that rain was going to come. Trusting, building, despite what everybody had to say about him. He kept building, and he was prepared for when the rain came. He had a boat. No one else did. Y'all, the rain is coming. The rain is coming. You may not see it right now, but the rain is coming. God has been asking you to build that boat. And what I mean by that is a spiritual boat. Is being obedient. It's doing what you know God is calling you to do and doing it to the best of your ability. It's when you feel your spirit say no and you are like, okay, God, I won't. It's when you start holding yourself accountable to a higher level, to a higher standard. And you're like, you know what, God? Okay, I'm not going to do it this way as much as I want to, as much as I desire this. I'm not going to do it that way. Even though it's easy for me to do it, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to trust and default to you. I'm going to try to put aside my flesh and my desires to do it your way. And you continue, he ups the ante. The fire gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter until you get to a place where like, okay, God, now you done made this fire so daggone hot. It's hot. Where are you? God's like, you're almost there. I want to encourage somebody today. You're almost there. You're almost there. I want you to, as we go back to the story of Saul and David, Saul got the position of king, and he didn't really have to go through much opposition or testing, not from what we see in the scriptures. But David on the other hand, is tested. I mean, over and over again. It's almost like God was like, I'm going to make sure you right. I got to make sure you really going to be solid in this thing. Because once I give you this position, I have to make sure my people Israel is being led by the right individual. Like I put it in the wrong hands before to a man who started building up idols of himself. He started building up statues of himself and glorifying himself before glorifying me. I got to make sure this next time. And some of y'all, we can feel that in a relationship. We can be like, the next time I decide to be with somebody, the next time I try to do X, Y, and the Z, I'm going to make sure it's right. And that's what God was doing. He was testing before he gave David the position, before David actually ever took the throne. I wonder how many years that was, but it seemed like to me, reading it, that had to be at least 10 to 15, 20 years before David ever actually saw the throne. From the time he was anointed as a shepherd boy until he actually saw the throne. I'm gonna Google that. What was the period of time? Between David anointed and David becoming king? 15 years. It was nearly 15 years. They estimate nearly 15 years from the time he was anointed until he became king. And there was levels that he was growing. Like, he was anointed, then, he went to the palace and he was playing the harp for Saul. And then he ends up going out to battle one day and there's Goliath and he wins the battle with Goliath. And then he starts, being a part of the warrior. He starts being the captain. I don't know if they call it a captain today, but back then anyway. But the captain of the army at that time or the military force. And so he's being promoted every level. But God is like, okay, you're anointed to be king. But before I get you there, you got to go up these levels. Because once I make you king, you're going to face a whole lot of opposition. And I'm going to need to make sure that you're tried and true, that you can handle the front side and the back side of this blessing. And so I want you guys to know that some of y'all are experiencing the testing that you're experiencing because God wants to make sure that you are faithful. God wants to make sure that he can trust you, that when things get rough and times get hard, that you have learned your new default is to run to the throne instead of running to the phone. Like, he wants to make sure that once you get to this next level, he can trust you with power. He can trust you with money. He can trust you with the responsibility. He can trust you. God is making sure he can trust you. And faithful warrior, mighty warrior, I want to encourage you. Promotion is coming. It is the time for promotion. It is the season for promotion. It is the season, family. And some of you guys may not know or may not feel that way right now. You may not. And I understand that because I've been there. Shoot, I might be sitting in that seat with you right now. You're like, okay, God, where are you? Where are you? You see what's happening. You see what's going on. You understand what I'm dealing with. You see it from all levels. You see this. And yet I'm still here. I'm still trying. I'm still being faithful and I'm still struggling. And God's like, you're almost there. You're almost there. You're almost there. It gets the hardest right before the breakthrough, family. It gets the hardest right before the breakthrough.
Mommy?
So I want you guys to remain faithful. Stay faithful, family. The time for promotion is here. It is close. Keep pushing. Stay faithful. Keep being obedient. I know it's getting harder to stay obedient, but stay obedient. We reap what we sow in this season, family. Well, not just in this season. I tell you all the time, that's law. Keep sowing good. I know it's getting hard to do it, but keep sowing. Your reaping season is coming soon.
Okay.
It's coming soon. God is faithful. He just wants to make sure we are faithful too. He wants to know that we can be trusted. He wants to know that before I take you to this next level that I have predestined for you, I need to make sure you're faithful. I need to make sure that I can trust you. So family, I want to encourage you. It's a time for promotion. It's a season for the next level. You've already been anointed as king. You've already been anointed as king. You've already gotten the position. You already have it. It's already yours. It's almost like, y'all, let's say there's you got a tax refund and you file the paperwork and the tax refund is supposed to come back. You already, it's coming. It's just a matter of when. It's almost like working for a job and you know that check comes in every 2 weeks. But maybe there's another thing that you're doing that is like, okay, I'm going to keep working out and I'm going to keep losing the weight. But I don't know when my body going to look the way I want it to. Keep putting in the work. Yeah. It's coming. It's on its way. Yeah. It is on its way. It's only a matter of when. It's not if, it's when. Yeah. The marriage is coming. The money is coming. The promotion is coming. It's coming. Yeah. You just have to stay faithful. Yeah. Just like David with Saul. We talk about the David and Goliath story, but we don't talk about when Saul's out here trying to take David's life. And David continues to choose the higher ground, continues to choose God's way versus his own. He doesn't default to earthly wisdom. Even when everyone around him was telling him to default to earthly wisdom, respond, do this, do that, do this. He's in the cave with you. I don't know if I brought it up in this episode, but David was literally in the cave with Saul as Saul was out here trying to unalive him. And he's in the cave and he's relieving himself. He's going to the restroom, it says in the Bible. And David's in the cave and David chooses, as it's only him and Saul. And David is a warrior. I already told you he'd be taking people out and he chooses not to do it. He chooses to say, you know what? I'm not going. I'm going to stay faithful. Even though this opportunity is right before me and it would make sense to everyone around me if I did this, I'm not going to default to earthly, unspiritual, demonic thought processes. I am going to default to heavenly wisdom. And that means I got to do it God's way, even when it doesn't make sense to anybody but me. So family, promotion is coming. Your reaping season is almost here. And everybody that doubted you, everybody that was like, they don't believe you or they was believing other things. Oh, they about to know the truth. God is about to vindicate you. God is about to silence every voice raised to accuse you. These are the benefits that are enjoyed by the servants of the Lord. Their vindication comes from him. The Lord has spoken. It's going to happen soon, family. It's happening soon. I want you to stay faithful. I want you to stay prayed up. I want you to stay in that war room. I want you to know that your good deeds, your good sowing, your season of harvest, your time for promotion is coming soon. Shh. Thank you for spending your time with us on Love Samantha Lee, the More Than Just Pretty podcast. It's been a privilege to share this space with you, where we celebrate being unapologetically ourselves. I hope today's episode has encouraged you to embrace your own unique beauty in the beauty in others. Don't forget to follow us and join our community on social media. Share your journey and your insights, and let's continue this conversation. Until next time, remember, real beauty starts with you being true to yourself. I love y'all, and I'm going to talk to you guys soon. Mommy.
Want to earn some quick cash? Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston is stocking up on cute and cozy fall styles. We pay you on the spot for your gently used name brand clothes and accessories. Plus, while you're here, you can stock up on must-have looks for autumn. We're the go-to sustainable shopping spot for teens and young adults. So stop by Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston today and refresh your wardrobe. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.